So we started new chapter which was development and aging. In that introduction was done. What does development mean? Is simply when sperm get fused, the fertilization occur. Then after fertilization, mitosis or cleavage process occur. Then these divide into 4 other cells, and then tissue, organ, and these all things. I would suggest you to watch that introductory class. Whereas today we are going to see a new topic which is fertilization, which was basically discussed in last chapter, which was also reproduction. These both chapters are quite interconnected. So let's see. Okay, first thing, fertilization. Before I start fertilization, let's see what is embryonic development. And so embryonic development, I'm just going to make you a flow chart. How it's like then early cleavages occur. Cleavages, which mean from 4 cells divided into 8 other cells, something like that. Then we have blastocyst formation. Right. Then after this we have implantation. Then we have gastrulation. And then we have neuralization. I'm sure it would be not clear to you. Of course. Oops, I was discussing and I forgot. I was mute. So here comes the cleavages, which means division from 4 cell to 8 cell and like 2 cell, then 4. Then this cycle continues. Blastocyst formation. When we take secondary oocyte, it get developed here, and they form a membrane outside called as zona pellucidea. And like our next video will be of course about blastocyst formation. Then comes implantation, which is simply forming of germ layers, which are 3: mesoderm, ectoderm, and endo. Meso, ecto, endo. So I'm sure it will be clear. Or we even call this as other modular structure, and these all mean placenta, other hormones, this all. Then we have gestation, the period where baby is about to leave the mother body, and like the delivery time. Neutralization, which is everything is done nicely and such things. So I'm sure it will be clear. Then let's see today's topic, which is fertilization. So I need to erase this all. Okay, so here comes today's video, fertilization. So we have discussed in last video, so I only give you kind of introduction and a small video. So let's see fertilization, which is simply when female when female body have what? They have ovum, right? Ovum is taken from the female body. Then we get sperm from what? From male body, right? What they both will do? They both will fertilize. When they both become fertilized, this means they become fertilized. This means another new structure formed called as fertilized egg, or even that's called as a zygote, haploid-like structure. After zygote, we have so many other steps, like what? So I am discussing that. This means fertilization. Here's the structure: ovum and sperm got fused, fertilized. After this, zygote will be formed. Zygote will be formed. After the zygote, like this. After the zygote, we'll see there will be division, like this one, called as blastomere. After this blastomere, it's getting divided into 4 other cells. This called as this simply we just call this as 4 cells, otherwise no name. After this, when it divided into other cells, 8 cells and that all, then they found a round like a structure which are quite loosely packed and have 16 cells. So whenever you just see 16 cells, that called as morula, right? Morula. After morula, this means simply it's like berry shaped structure. Right, they are even loosely connected, so you can even see in this diagram. Then after this, everything is done about the fertilization. So let's see what's written in the book. Simply when a fusion of these gametes happen and that all. So let's see. Fertilization, which is union of male and female gamete, called fertilization. As I mentioned, you will see union, which means same, as you have studied in mathematics set chapter. So it's like union, we just take as a same, we are taking male gamete and female gamete as well to make them fertilize, and this union results in the formation of single cell called as zygote, as mentioned, and this egg release ovary, and just when it become egg, okay, when it become egg like this, that is released in the form of secondary oocyte, which we'll discuss in the blastocyst formation because it's mainly part of that one. But simply when egg is released, like this fertilized body have become, which is known as zygote or fertilized egg, that egg will release ovary in the form of secondary oocyte. Then it is converted into zona pellucidea, which is the outer membrane of blastocyst, as I mentioned. Then we have fertilization, which take place in the proximal part of oviduct. Proximal part, which means the first part, which we'll see here. This is first part like that, right? Proximal part, this means we have a fallopian tube. In that we have 3 parts, so it will start in the first part as well. The process is facilitated by enzymes on the surface of the sperm cell. They break the outer membrane of the egg, so I'm sure it will be clear. Then once the sperm has successfully penetrated the egg cell, zona pellucidea of the egg changes the and prevent other sperm from entering. So yes, of course we know that more than 200 million sperms get into a female body. So how is that possible? Of course, if it would be 200 million, so female is supposed to produce more than 200 million children, right? But of course we know it does not happen. Why it does not happen? Just because we have so many things, we are blessed with so many things. How? When 200 sperms are entered, so we will see there is only sperm cell successfully penetrate the egg cell, so zona pellucidea, which is the membrane, but it will change and prevent any other sperm. So here I would mention that we have one more thing, which is when it enter into zona pellucidea, then we will see one more thing called as ZP3 receptor, which is not mentioned in the book, but ZP3 receptor, which is simply which tells our body, yes, this is our human sperm. Of course we cannot try, but such artificial processes are now even happening, so of course we cannot insert animal sperm, but of course we know that here ZP3 receptor, which will help them in recalling, yeah, that's human sperm. So when one would be injected, this will become kind of this will not work properly as it was working before. So this means their working decrease, so they will say, we don't know if this sperm of that one or zona pellucidea even get disappears then. So this means you will see ZP3 receptor is quite important and it has so many functioning. So when one sperm get fused inside, so layer will change and the blast everything will be changed. This means they won't be able to go in human's body. So I'm sure it will be clear. Okay, then we have on a sperm cell entering the cells. Entering the egg cell, 2 cells fuse and the nuclei combine for a single diploid nucleus. They mark the beginning of development of a new individual. So just like that, new individual zygote undergoes series. This means in zygote we will see so many changes, transformation, which travels from fallopian tube towards the uterus. So fallopian tubes and uterus, simply they're mentioning. We know this the body. So here this is the fallopian tube, here comes the ovary, here they get fertilized, and here the middle part called as ampulla, the first one called thymus, here called something infundibule or something. So this means this is an ovary. So here fertilization, this will cross this oviduct, then it will come to the uterus, and the entire 9 months during the pregnancy the woman have their child over here, then it will pass throughout the vagina or by the C-section and such things. So I'm sure it will be clear. So what we'll discussing, it travels fallopian tube towards the uterus and will implant to the urinary lining and continue. So it will try to combine and form a good bond, not bond of course, when uterus. So in this uterus we have 3 more lining. First one is perimetrium, then the middle one called as mesometrium, or not meso but basically myometrium, the third one endometrium. So it will make connection with the endometrium, which is the inner one, as even during the menstruation cycle that got break down, because if no egg and something's formed, so that got break down as well. So it will make sure to combine and form this egg with attached with this lining, which is called as endometrium. So I'm sure it will be clear. Then comes the diagram. What you'll see here, you'll see so many structures, enzymes. These are the granules, and first thing here, sperm is going to be fused. Then secondly is going to connect. Enzymes are digested. Sperms bind to one other E site, and that all. I think this picture is not very much clear. Let me open. Zona pellicida, the outer membrane. Then sperm binds to fuse with oocyte and plasma membrane. It will go to the plasma membrane and will try to form a structure with the oocyte. Then sperm nucleus enters cytoplasm. So when in this sperm, the starting part have the nucleus inside. So this nucleus enter to this cytoplasm. Then cortical granules release enzyme. Zona pellicida become fertilized membrane. So this zona pellicida, when one sperm entered, they become fertilization membrane, and this cortical granules, these granules release enzyme. As I mentioned, these are granules, so they will release enzyme. This membrane now called as fertilization membrane. Then the sixth one is sperm and egg colony enclosed in a nucleus. So this is simply sperm, which is, and here's the egg. So these both combine and they form nuclear envelope around, and the complete structure will be formed. So yes, here comes the end of our fertilization topic. I'm sure it will be very much clear. I've explained with the picture and these all things. Here's the labeling: cortical granule, oocyte, plasma membrane, zona pellicida, and yes, here's the structure of acrosome. Acrosome, which is present in the first site of sperm, called acrosome. Here we've had the middle piece, the nucleus, and the plasma membrane. We have also discussed the entire structure of sperm in the last video. I would suggest you to watch that so that you know what parts, what divisions, and everything like that. So I'm sure it will be clear. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.